There were two things that I really wanted to try with Mrs CrumpleBottom, and one was to see what it would look like if she uses the well herself and then the wish fails. So it's nighttime now, and I think this wish should fail, if I'm correct. I've put some lights around to try and illuminate it better. Also, there's a storm, which is kind of the perfect ambience for the— oh, okay, it stopped. Oh god. How is this possible? Mrs CrumpleBottom. Oh, is it a different Mrs CrumpleBottom? Oh my god, is Mrs CrumpleBottom gonna get smacked by Mrs CrumpleBottom? Did she just express attraction to Mrs CrumpleBottom? Be beaten with purse. Be attacked. I'm just gonna add her to the household and see what's going on here. There doesn't seem to be any way to add her to the household. If I try to look here, there's no option to add her. There's no option to move her in using this either. I don't know what's going on here. There's two of them, but they look like the same person. I'm just gonna see how this plays out first. CrumpleBottom versus CrumpleBottom. This wish didn't turn out so well. Which one is which? I just don't know. She can't leave, can she? I think she's just a clone that's stuck here now. What I think I'm gonna do is have them both wish at the same time and then see if we can get even more Mrs CrumpleBottoms onto the lot. I keep trying and the wishes keep succeeding, so I'm hoping this one fails. Oh my god. Can't seem to get it to fail anymore. I don't know why. Okay. I can't seem to get it to fail with Unsavory Charlatan, but it works with Mrs CrumpleBottom. What if I just move her? Mrs CrumpleBottom, Mrs CrumpleBottom. Okay, well. that didn't She is immune to locks. Just cancel the attack. That was easy. Say goodbye. Right, so I've just locked her in the— I don't know why I didn't do that before. I've just removed the door, so she's just gonna stand around here. I'll just wait to— oh no! Did Mrs CrumpleBottom just disappear? I think she did. I wasn't paying close enough attention, no! So I've reloaded the lot, and the other thing I wanted to try, which— who is she lecturing? There's nobody there. She's just lecturing her. She's lecturing this little cupboard here. The other thing I wanted to try, which I assume isn't going to work, is age her down and then see if in another neighbourhood Mrs CrumpleBottom will come out of the well in like her de-aged form, which could be very could be very creepy. I want to try it with her child form and her teen form because those are the weirdest two in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure that the toddler one would just break completely because of the animations. Okay, something very weird has happened to this thumbnail. I was just going to go to another neighbourhood to test this out, but I've just noticed their daughter's disappeared and Mrs CrumpleBottom is still in the thumbnail in her usual form. I'm tempted to just go back in quickly to see what's happened to this family. This is very weird. It might just be the thumbnail, but I don't know. Oh my god! Oh, that's amazing! It's Mrs CrumpleBottom. Didn't know this was possible, but it looks like her mesh has sort of shrunk to be the size she was before I left the lot. But she's got all of her features. That's so weird. Also, why was her daughter not in the thumbnail anymore? And now she's gonna be lectured because she's having a shower. Don't take showers, kid. That's against the rules. I didn't realise this was possible, and now I really need to know if it's possible with the toddler form. But then, if this is what happens when you leave the lot, I don't think, because what I really wanted was her child form with the missing face. And I wanted to see that come out of the wishing well. Because obviously the Mrs CrumpleBottom coming out of the wishing well thing is sort of a reference to the ring, and this would really fit in with that even more. Because that would actually be kind of creepy. Her teen form would probably be even worse because of those jerky animations. So this is what toddler Mrs CrumpleBottom looks like now. We're gonna leave, and then we're gonna see what the, like, what happens after that. I'm kind of scared. Oh no. What has happened to her? There's no interactions with any crawl here. Do I want to see what that looks like? Oh no. This is very wrong. This is almost worse than the pets. Like, what the heck? No. Okay. So that's interesting though, because when I was doing this, to be honest, Mrs CrumpleBottom's just fit skin and bones, right? When I was doing this, I did wonder what, like, Mrs CrumpleBottom would look like at every age stage if she kept her outfit and all of that stuff. So this is kind of like that, although not quite, because she's still got her elder face as well. This is very interesting though, because there's a lot of Universal NPCs that are missing faces. I haven't messed with any of the other ones, so I don't know what it looks like, but I'm assuming some of them will have weird age forms at different ages, but it's possible, I suppose, that if you leave the lot and come back, you can get this effect with all of them, but I don't really know yet, because I haven't tried that. It's not the best outfit for what I want to do. Like, I think she could be dressed in a scarier way. I can't change her outfit because if I do, it just sort of makes her invisible or resets the entire thing back to default if I use the mirror to do that. So let's see what happens. So I'm on the Summer Dream lot. This is the version of the lot I was using in a previous video. I think the one on the power outage scenario. It's the one where I recorded the Mr. Monster bit. What you didn't see in that video was the number of cereal boxes I had when he talks about eating all of the kids' cereal. I had this like set, but most of it didn't end up in the video, and I just shoved boxes everywhere, and they're still there from that time. So this is also the same version of Veronaville where I took the ancestor Sims and moved them to Blightgate. So this is also a corrupted version of Veronaville. The party is a complete disaster so far. It's going to be an even bigger one pretty soon. Okay, it's time for the second wish. And we'll see if this actually works. No. Okay, that's weird, because if you wish twice in 24 hours, it's supposed to fail. So she just wished for romance, and it was successful, and the sim that she got out of the wishing well immediately started to network with her and offered to set her up on a blind date. I mean, I guess he's just the middleman for the wishing well. Well, it's not nighttime, so it's not quite as creepy looking, but we're gonna try it. Ah, okay. I think it's just her normal form, isn't it? Yeah. It looks like this is just the usual Mrs. CrumpleBottom you see in game. Oh, it's disappointing. I wanted faceless Mrs. CrumpleBottom crawling out of the well. You can add this Mrs. CrumpleBottom to the household, whereas in my other household you couldn't, and I assume that's because they are the same Mrs. CrumpleBottom. Obviously what happens is there must be something in the game code which resets Mrs. CrumpleBottom's age and clothing to the correct version. It must specify it somewhere so that Mrs. CrumpleBottom can't be like in child form crawling out of the well. What you notice is the hula zombies that come with the Grim Reaper are actually, there are two hula zombies, but there aren't really two hula zombies. Basically, one hula zombie is a clone of the other hula zombie, and I'm guessing this is basically the same thing where there's only one Mrs. CrumpleBottom, but she comes out of the well and is cloned. So that way, even if Mrs. CrumpleBottom is already on a lot, a clone will appear. I'm assuming that's what happens, but the clone is also set at a certain age and with a certain appearance, so even if Mrs. CrumpleBottom is in child form, that doesn't affect the clone. That makes a lot of sense, but that's so disappointing though, because I did really want to see the creepy Mrs. CrumpleBottom crawling out of the well. I don't know if it would be possible to mod that. You know, unless you can replace it so that something else comes out of the well. I don't think that's gonna work. Let's try adding Mrs. CrumpleBottom here. So, eat value grilled cheese sandwiches. That's interesting. That's interesting, because that is not the lifetime wish of the other Mrs. CrumpleBottom, and we're seeing escalating corruption. And it says value instead of the actual number of grilled cheese sandwiches. Her skill points appear to be the same from my memory. She had a lot of cooking points before. Looks like the same. She has a memory of winning a fight. Oh, and she has a memory of losing a fight, which I don't think the other Mrs. CrumpleBottom got. Maybe because it was with herself. This Mrs. CrumpleBottom is not married, so is it not the same Mrs. CrumpleBottom? Can you only have one Mrs. CrumpleBottom on a lot at a time? There can only be one. What if I move this Mrs. CrumpleBottom to Blightgate? The other Mrs. CrumpleBottom, when she clicks on Sims, she has the full range of social interactions, but when Sims click on her, they just have the usual options. But it looks like when I click, all I have are these things related to mods. There are no normal pie menu options for social interactions, which is very interesting, because she seems to, this Mrs. CrumpleBottom does seem to function differently, and she's also beating Sims with purses, which my other Mrs. CrumpleBottom doesn't do. She's running her script over and over again, unlike the other Mrs. CrumpleBottom. So this is a slightly different functioning Mrs. CrumpleBottom. Things have gotten very weird. I resetted Mrs. CrumpleBottom. She's crawling out of a strange part of the well, which isn't normal. She came out the other side before. Now she's clipping through the well. What is going on with that grilled cheese sandwich one, though? It doesn't say the number of grilled cheese sandwiches. That's why she's so angry. No amount of grilled cheese sandwiches will suffice.
Give me all the
grilled cheese sandwiches
you have.
Oh wait, she has options now. She didn't have them a minute ago. She's trying to leave again. She's flashing in and out of existence. So what's this Mrs. CrumpleBottom's deal? Can't add her. Think it might be the same one again. It's not recognising that Mrs. CrumpleBottom is here, because I think she's a clone of this Mrs. CrumpleBottom. It's interesting, right? I'm wondering if her lifetime one is randomised. If she moves out, can this Mrs. CrumpleBottom be added? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, so that Mrs. CrumpleBottom is gone now. Can we add this one? It still recognises Mrs. CrumpleBottom as being in the household, so she hasn't technically left. I think I'm going to go back over to Blightgate, and then I'm going to see what's going on there. Before I do anything else, I'm just going to see what's happened to Blightgate's Mrs. CrumpleBottom. So she's still here. And, you know, she's still got all her relationships. So the next thing I'm going to see is if the Mrs. CrumpleBottom from the well is consistent throughout the game. So I'm going to try and get her onto this lot which doesn't have a Mrs. CrumpleBottom. Mrs. CrumpleBottom. Ah. So I'm guessing lifetime wishes for Mrs. CrumpleBottom and her memories and relationships and family tree are stored on the neighbourhood level. It's not actually as broken as I thought it would be. It looks like Mrs. CrumpleBottom is now in 2 households at the same time. She's here as well. If I go to the experiment household here, there's a lot of Sims here that aren't actually in that household though, so that is quite delayed. Half of these Sims are in a completely different household. No. Okay, it doesn't add Mrs. CrumpleBottom. It looks like no matter what, she resets to her normal age and appearance. So you can't get weird, faceless Mrs. CrumpleBottom coming out of the well. Well, it's it was good to know. It's good to confirm that. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how this works. Obviously, there's a lot of information that's stored on the neighborhood level, like the family tree, their relationships and memories. Even the lifetime witch seems to be neighborhood specific, which I think is interesting because there's some downtownies that have lifetime wishes that are the same in every single neighborhood. So it's interesting that Mrs. CrumpleBottom's lifetime wish is actually randomized depending on the neighborhood. I think her personality and her skill points are the same across neighborhoods. Needless to say though, I wouldn't recommend adding Mrs. CrumpleBottom to your household, even though it looks like she does retain gameplay functionality when you do that in different neighborhoods. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you're not really aware of and that will potentially affect your game over time. It would be really interesting, as I said earlier in the video, to actually move this Mrs. CrumpleBottom with the weird grilled cheese aspiration to Blightgate, just to see what happens, because it really does seem that you can't get multiple Mrs. CrumpleBottoms on a single lot, which makes sense because, you know, there's only one Mrs. CrumpleBottom in the game files, but it does seem like there's a lot of data stored on the neighbourhood level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save a lot with Mrs. CrumpleBottom into the lots and houses bin, and then I'm going to move that into Blightgate. So now it's time for the moment of truth. I'm going to place this lot in Blightgate and see what happens. Let's put it over here. 30 Poet Place. Now I assume the game will just crash while placing it, to be honest. If not, crash while loading the lot. Okay. Okay, so Mrs. CrumpleBottom has mysteriously vanished from this lot. Oh god. Let's see what's going on here. I assume some of her data is floating around now in the neighbourhood, possibly. But she's not here. Oh god, it's her. So I guess that's what happens when you move Mrs. CrumpleBottom from one neighbourhood to another. All of her neighbourhood-specific data, like her lifetime wish, memories, family tree, and so on, are switched out with the data that exists in the neighbourhood you move her to. So this is the Blightgate version of Mrs. CrumpleBottom now, even though I started off with the Veronaville version of Mrs. CrumpleBottom. So when you move any sim from one neighbourhood to another, it does remove all of their relationships. Chester Geek, before I moved, had some romance relationships for when I was using the wishing well. That's all gone. The interesting thing here though with Mrs. CrumpleBottom is that although all of her data was removed, it's replaced it with all of her Blightgate data. So she's got the same lifetime one as the Blightgate Mrs. CrumpleBottom. She's got, you know, the relationships and the family tree. It's just the Blightgate Mrs. CrumpleBottom again. Mrs. CrumpleBottom still isn't showing up in the thumbnail of this household. She does show up here. I'm gonna go back and see if she's still living with them. I'm very confused right now by where this is saved. This must just be because I've forgotten where I saved this last. While editing the video, I thought I did all of this after I recorded the guitar thing, but I might have just recorded the guitar thing last. Like, that must be the situation. It's either that or because The Sims 2 doesn't revert to, like, previous save states. That's not a thing in The Sims 2. So it must just be that I forgot what I was doing last when I was on this lot. Her creativity points are 0, though. Don't really know what that's about.
because I gave her full creativity points when I was recording the video, but obviously I didn't save after doing that.
I have no memory of this place.
Also, it occurs to me now that it's possible that after I moved Mrs CrumpleBottom from Veronaville to this neighbourhood, it replaced her skill points. I'm not 100% sure that that's what happened, because like I say, it's possible that for some weird reason I didn't save after giving her full creativity points. I don't really know what's happened there, but she definitely doesn't have full creativity points now, so it is possible that that was replaced.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. It didn't go exactly how I wanted it to. I really did want to get that faceless Mrs CrumpleBottom crawling out of the well clip, but it was still interesting to see how much of the you know, data is stored just on the neighbourhood level. This isn't technically new information, I don't think, though. I think all of this is documented out there, really, so this was more just showing the visual side of things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Look at that face.